Chafing Armor Podcast, Episode 64, Tooth, Beak, and Claw. Welcome back to the Chafing Armor Podcast. I'm your host, and loving this July weather as we premiere on July the 8th of 2019. My goodness, did everyone enjoy Spider-Man Far From Home that just came out a few days ago?
Yeah, I have seen that movie, yes. It's got spiders in it.
Absolutely, because we, of course, record on the day that our thing comes out, so clearly we've already seen that, and we all loved it, and I love the part where he does that thing with his web shooter.
Oh, yeah, I won that thing with Mysterio. Woo!
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Finally, it was revealed that Mysterio was Bruce Campbell all along.
I mean, spoilers, guys. Come on, it doesn't come out for another month down here.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting that the come out. I should know that from all of my listening to the Weekly Planet.
I was trying to remember James Jonah Jameson's name, and I said a completely different Spider-Man character's name. I think I said a Batman character's name. I'm a really horrible person, and I need to be kicked off the show.
Well, the only way you can make up for it is to bring me pictures of Spider-Man! My now defunct ASMR channel, you can actually find one of my role plays was J. Jonah Jameson. So enjoy that, everyone.
There's someone posted a meme a while ago in one of my Discord channels. It was real men don't send dick pics. Real men slam their fist on tables and demand pictures of Spider-Man.
Oh, that's what I look for in a man.
And it's a picture of J. Jonah Jameson hitting his desk from the old Spider-Man 60s cartoon.
The best. Yep. So this wonderful derailment that I've taken everyone on, we actually have a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. Who knew?
What?
I didn't. That's weird.
I know, right?
This was a seafood show.
Where am I?
Now, let's get back to your favorite sea-caught bass. Speaking of animals, when we last left our characters, we had started the third chapter of Chafing Armor, the first one being recovering from the defeat at the Battle of the Two Mountains and the breaking of the Rod of Seraphim. The second being the arrival at the city of Mascate and all of the intrigue that has happened there. And now the third, where they have made their way out into the Pinta Plains, where they found a group of strange and terrible bandits who were then horribly transformed into partial humans, partial animals. And then a great rainstorm swept over the party, and all of them found themselves transforming. Even the hut itself began to transform. And one by one, I'd like you all to introduce yourself as your character and what you turned into. Let's start with James. James, tell everyone who you are playing.
Hi, everybody. My name is James, and I was formerly playing a spell scale sorcerer named Pendant Chalice, and now I'm playing a kingfisher bird with no particular name because birds don't have names.
As far as we know. And also, Dare. Dare, tell everyone who you will be playing today.
Greetings, everyone. This is Dare, and I've been playing Tix Birchmanson, your diminutive cleric, and now I am an even more diminutive humble crab with a hard blue shell and a nasty pinch.
Wonderfully put. And also is Izzy. Izzy, tell everyone who you will be playing.
I'm going to be in character and use my character voice, which is the dire boar artist formerly known as Morezi Mugraw, half-orc barbarian.
I can't wait to see your symbol for that.
And finally, we did not actually get to his transformation, so just tell us who your character is, Lee.
G'day everybody, I'm Lee, and I am playing quite possibly a hideously disfigured version of Osakai, the Shifter Ranger, Eldine Reaches.
Absolutely. And what happened at the very, very end is Zuana, who appeared out of the ground from a horribly injured purple worm and rejoined the party, began laughing at all of you and telling you that you would all be transformed into dumb, stupid, base animals, and that there was nothing that you could do to stop it as you all transformed. I would like to correct one minor thing, though it was amazing storytelling. Is Dare, you mentioned that your clothing fell away. Actually, all of your clothing and items, they have all melded into your new form with a
Oh.
few important distinctions. Let's start with you, Dare. Your backpack was actually created by your god. And so please all imagine this large blue crab with the most adorable tiny little backpack on his back. But perhaps even more interesting for you is you were in possession of a sword that had changed itself into an axe, an
Correct.
intelligent blade known as Destiny Seeker. Your right claw is now tinged with blue steel, with orderly lines running through it. There is something very unusual about that right claw, shall we say.
Excellent.
Penton, though you cannot see it, you can feel it. The feathers at the top of above your head area
Crest.
are actually your crest. Thank you. Are slightly discolored, almost as if that slight scar given to you by that brass dragon some time ago is still showing its way through. And Morezi, that strange armband that seems to have given you improbable abilities in the past, is still on your boar front leg.
All right.
But finally, we didn't get to the last one as the rains pour down on all of you and transform you into these animals. Osokai, you feel yourself begin to shift. Tell everyone, what does it feel like normally when Osokai shifts?
So, given that Osokai is relatively different to his clan, backstory available on chafingarmor.com.
Woo!
His transformation is different to most people of his tribe. Being that his totem animal is a bear, his first transformation was relatively painful, as you can imagine. Think of that scene in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Does it hurt? Every time. But, you know, you do something often enough, you get used to it. So there is some slight pain when he shifts as his body changes, but Osokai being Osokai, he can generally handle it, but it's not comfortable.
It is not comfortable. So you feel, as the song said so long ago, like a virgin. From a long time ago, you feel like that first time when you shift. But this is involuntary. It is not at will. You are being forced to shift, and it is painful. It is uncomfortable, and you are changing into a giant bear, and then you stop. You stop changing because whatever innateness of being a shifter is actually resisting this effect. And it apparently at the moment is unnoticed by Zuwana. She is pulling out a long leather whip, and she cracks the whip once, and you all see a slight flash of magical energy. And she calls out to all of you, and she says, "Come to me, stupid creatures. We have work to do." And all of you feel absolutely nothing. You feel no urge to obey her in any way, shape, or form. She looks at you in turn. She turns and looks at you, Osokai, realizing that you have not changed. And you hear her under her breath say, "Oh crap." And I would like everyone to roll for initiative.
Yeah, dice. That's what we do with this game.
And Tix, what did you get?
Tix got a 14.
14. And Penton.
I got an 8.
Penton got an 8. And I'm sorry, Osokai.
That's a 20 for Osokai.
And last but not least, Morezi.
11.
11 for Morezi. And finally, not bad, a 19 from Zuwana. But that still leaves Osokai first. What would you like to do?
I'm going to assume during the transformation process, because of the pain, Osokai buckled to his knees. So when the shift stopped, he looked partially, he was about 5 feet tall. Osakai's going to stand up. His shifted form puts him at a shade over 7 feet tall. And yeah, he's going to stand up and just approach Zuwana. Because to Osakai's mind, something's wrong. Something's very wrong here.
Mhm.
This isn't... Okay, we know what Zuana is, or at least I do.
Mhm.
But even so, this isn't like her, so something's going on. And Osuka wants to know what it is. So he's going to approach and just stand in front of this diminutive 5-foot something and just look down.
Okay. And she looks back up at you, and you feel just a slight pulse of some kind. You're not quite sure what. And she reaches behind her back and she holds out to you and she says, Look, this is the braid that you gave me. You don't want to hurt me.
Wait. I didn't give a braid to Zuana.
No, you didn't. And that will bring it to her turn, and she casts a spell. And she gestures with both hands, and both Tix and Penton, you feel the magic, but especially you, Tix, you feel a plane being ripped asunder for a moment, and in a puff of sulfurous smoke, a small, diminutive demon appears with a little pot belly and kind of gross looking, and it goes, and it is very aggressive towards y'all, but also clearly does not want to be here. Tix, would you do a quick divinity check for me?
I will. And that is a 16.
16. With a 16, you do recognize the general kind of demon this is. It is one of the lowest kind of demons. It is known as a dretch. Anyone who has ever crossed into the abyssal planes, those outer regions, you're pretty much going to run into one of these. They're kind of the run of the mill, and they are, in fact, you even know a scrap of little knowledge that sometimes dretches will even summon other dretches. That's how lowly they are regarded, even among themselves.
Quick, someone summon a devil. Demons and devils hate each other.
There you go. And that will actually bring it to you, Tix. You have this Zuana in front of you, a few feet away, and also this little devil has been summoned.
Which one is closer?
Technically, the Dretch would actually be closer because she summoned it in front of her.
Okay. I will go for the Dretch while Osokai figures out what Zuana is up to, and I will pinch away with my claw.
Okay.
And that is a natural 20.
Natural 20.
A natural 20.
Very interesting.
Okay, so that is... Now, if it has the same... Does it have the same property as the battle axe?
It does.
Okay. So that is times 3 critical damage.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 2 necrotic damage, and then it needs to make a save versus death.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Actually, technically, I think that if it's less than 50% health, it saves versus death. But given the low hit points of the Dretch, I'm going to go ahead and allow it in this particular case. But I want you to roll for damage first.
Okay. And that is a beautiful 30 points of damage.
Oh, yes.
Oh, jeez.
So there is no need to save versus death. What I would like you to do is describe to me. So as I mentioned briefly before, you are a crab. You're a blue crab, but you are slightly larger than a regular crab. You're certainly not enormous. You're basically the size of a small dog.
That's a big crab.
It's a big crab still.
It's a big crab.
So I want you to tell me how you would go about dispatching this Dretch, who's about the size of Tix's normal height, little around 3 feet tall.
Well, the wonderfully shiny blue crab walks over to as quickly as possible, scuttling across the dirt road to the Dretch, and reaches out one claw that is steely in color and just clamps across the belly and scissors into the soft guts of this bloated creature and snaps it almost cleanly in half.
And there is just no resistance. And you actually hear in your head Destiny Seeker saying, "This is intolerable." This must be rectified, and it's actually angry, and it actually fuels your attack, and just y'all hear the of the organs just splattering out into the rain-soaked ground as
Nice.
it is just taken right out by this blue crab with a blue steel for a claw. And that will bring it to Merezi, the boar.
I'd like to take a big, chunky boar jab at Zuana.
Okay.
This weird non-Zoana. I don't believe that this is Zoana. But also, I don't know. I rolled a 5. I don't know if I still have my same base attack bonus, but I don't think that's going. I don't think a 9 is also going to hit.
Yes, unfortunately, a 9 will not hit. And I did send all of you the base stats for your characters via the closest animal I could find in Dungeons and Dragons. They should be on the wonderful Discord server, just so y'all know. But a 5 will definitely miss.
Oh.
So you're still getting used to your new piggy form, and you try charge, and unfortunately you just miss because it's kind of weird to be a boar. And that will actually bring it to you, Benton.
Okay. Just trying to find my stats here so I know what I'm working with there. No. Oh, it's so tiny. The print is so tiny. I can look
It'll
it up.
expand.
I clicked on it and it didn't get any bigger. That's what she said. Okay, now that I've got some data here, let's see. I agree that this is not correct. And I'm assuming I have like the cognitive wherewithal to like try and deal with this at some level.
Yes, despite the fact that she told you you would be transformed into a dumb animal, you absolutely have 100% of your cognitive abilities.
Okay. All right. Well, then we're going to swoop in and scrape at her with my talons here. Let's see how that goes. +5 melee. All right. Oh, and that's a 20, ladies and gentlemen.
Natural 20. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Out of all things. So I'll double my D4 -2. However, I'm going to be supercharging that with my Bahamut bonus.
I will allow it. And so you
I
all
may be a bird.
You actually see its beak just kind of charge up for a second as it dives in. And what is the total damage?
1, 3. Okay, that is a total of 9 points of damage.
9 points of damage, and it. So imagine y'all imagine this crane just swoops up into the air, and perhaps it's because of all of your time with your best friend being a bird that you just take naturally to flying. That you swoop up in the air, dive down, and just stab into her chest, kind of like right next to the shoulder where the shoulder meets the chest, and she just screams as blood spurts out. And that will actually bring it to you, Osokai.
So you mentioned that everybody's belongings stayed on them during their transformation. Obviously, my transformation didn't complete. So I'm still normal, I guess.
You are normal, except you shifted against your will.
Okay. This Zuana standing in front of me, this person that looks like Zuana. So she gave me a headband or a crown or something. Essentially, a small little enchanted device that changes how you look.
Yes.
I think you mentioned at some point that even though it changes how you look, there's still some indication of the enchanted thing on the creature, whether it be like a bear wearing a crown or whatever it is, something like that. I think
Yes.
the device itself still exists in its normal form on the enchanted or the transmogrified being.
And so, two things. One, that is 100% correct, that no matter what transformation takes place, the transformation has some kind of headgear, however subtle, that is part of the transformation that remains. It's called the Hat of Disguise.
Yeah.
And the transformation is entirely cosmetic. And I do, of course, because your character would know this, because you have it, you still have that. And in fact, in the letter that Zuana left you, that had been left by Kiris, the very new adventurer who befriended Merezi, She actually even specifically said, "Take care of my hat."
I've spent enough time with Zuana for a very long time.
Very long.
During my periods in the Underdark and all the rest of it. I know what she looks like. Is there any indication of another hat of disguise on this Zuana?
Well, give me a roll and add your wisdom bonus.
Okay. Wisdom. Ooh, okay.
Hmm.
Ugh. Please be good to me, dice. They were very good to me. That's a 16 plus 2, so 18?
With an 18 roll, you don't see anything that is indicative of that. It is not 100% guarantee, but of course, like literally anything could be happening right now, but you see no evidence of her wearing the same type of enchantment of a hat of disguise.
So this isn't Zuana then? Because Zuana would only show herself to the rest of the group disguised, wearing the hat of disguise. So this is not Zuana. And I make that known to the rest of the group with a call out.
Horribly maim the crap out of this dude.
I would prefer to render her or it or them immobile or unable to move. I think it'd be in everybody's best interests to question.
Okay, I second guessed that as soon as it came out of my mouth, but I see no reason to hold back.
True. Osugai is just going to punch her out. Or attempt to punch her out.
Okay, so roll for attack.
Alright. Oh, I'm shifted too. Yes! I just realised that gives me a bonus. Oh, okay, yep, alright. Okay, so that's 19 on the die.
Okay, that will hit.
Okay. Punching, so that's a D6 plus 2.
Okay.
And that's a total of 8. Sorry, 7.
Total of
I can math.
7?
Yep.
So I believe that is 16 points of damage that she has taken. You knock her back with just a pow, the right hook that sends her partially turning. It is her turn, and she turns and she looks at you, and you feel another one of those pulses, and she says, "But no, don't you understand?" And she actually reaches behind her back one more time, and she holds out the canister that was filled with healing salve that the old woman had given you. And she says, I tried to heal you. I'm trying to help you. And she casts another spell. And y'all were attacked by a skunk man earlier. And this is not dissimilar in that a stinking cloud emanates from her hands and filters out all of you. And I need all of you to make a fortitude saving throw. And you may use your original fortitude.
All right.
Fell on the floor. Right.
That's a 23 for Osukai.
Oh,
Is
the
the
14 for
modifier
me.
the thing that says total? Because that's a really
Yes, total.
weirdly high number.
Yes.
I got a 27 on that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
You
Tix
got
got
a
a 22.
22? Okay.
You got a constitution of like 18, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
a
you're
really
very
high
close.
misc modifier.
Yeah.
Tix got a 22.
22? Oh, I'm sorry. That's who I heard was Tick.
And I got a 14.
And a 14. Okay, and that is... Okay, so everyone except for Penton, and perhaps Penton, because you were, I don't know, say like lodged your beak into her side. So
Could
you
be.
were very, very close. And Tix, you actually find that you can just kind of close up your breathing apparatus, and that it's very, very easy to hold your breath. And Osokai and Morezi are just very, very tough. But for you actually will lose one turn, Henson, just literally going plop, 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 as this stinking cloud just, you land and just begin retching and kind of spitting up bits of breakfast. It is not pleasant.
No.
But that will actually bring it to you, Tix.
Well, Tix will scuttle on over and mentally say to Destiny Seeker, we need to do that again, and knock her out.
Okay.
So
you can do that. It's going to be a little challenging to use the flat of the blade when it's a claw, but you can do it.
Actually, I'm going to swing for her knees and to knock her down and hopefully knock the breath out of her. And that is a 18 Modified 18.
So I want you all to imagine this crab just suddenly, like all of you instinctively know what you are. Like there's no like, what's going on? What am I? You're like, oh crap, I'm a crab. And you just to the side and y'all see him just scuttle up the side of her leg and just that one claw just boom right into the back of her knee. And she
Crab time.
screams and buckles backwards. She actually falls to the ground, and she is prone for the moment because you have knocked her down, and that will actually bring it to you, Merezi.
I'm going to attack her. I'm going to attempt my very best to do non-lethal boar damage. I'm going to roll now, yes.
How much do you weigh as a boar, Izzy?
It says dire boars can be 12 feet long and weigh as much as 2,000 pounds.
Okay, so you're not that big.
That's just what it says on the character sheet.
But I would say that you are probably about a little shy of 500 pounds. You are enormous, but there was some small conservation of mass.
You're a Texas
Okay.
style.
So shouting is a free action. It's up to Merezi whether or not she chooses to actually do it or not. Ozugai would like to shout, "Sit on her."
Okay, I'm gonna. Can I roll for sitting? Would that be like a
Roll to
grapple?
sit.
Rolled.
It's just
Yeah,
it's just a grapple
It's like
check.
a grapple, but you're just applying your body weight to her as she's on the ground.
And
But it's
because
an
she's
attack
prone,
roll.
she can't do anything about it. So
Okay, I rolled a natural 20.
She's pinned.
So describe
sit successfully.
to me, Merezi, how you pin this would-be Zoana to the ground.
This is what I do. I sit on you. Sit on you. Okay. She's on the ground and she's currently like reeling from the crab incident. So I just kind of do up to her and just plop down on her chest, kind of like get my feet planted on her belly, just get real comfortable.
I think if this was a movie, we would cut to her perspective and we would just see the shadow of this giant boar rear with the little piggy tail just descending upon her, and then it cuts back to her eyes as she's just like, oh, boom.
And it definitely smells weird.
Oh, it's not great. No,
Dire
it is not
boar
good.
is very musky.
Pungent.
Musky, yes. She is 100% penned by hundreds of pounds of boar, and the combat is over.
I flap over and perch on her head.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's have a fun little dog pile. Oh, we're all one big family.
The blue
And
crab scuttles over next to her head and gently starts tapping the claw on the center of her temple. Just tap, tap, tap.
I've never been so threatened by a crab in my entire life.
So she is there is a look of terror on her face. Some of you, particularly you, Osakai, from your angle, she still has that whip in her hand, and she grips it tightly, and she yells out, "Obey me!" And you all feel like an energy kind of pulse through all of you, but it does not affect you at all.
well,
And
as the
you
only
honestly, you don't know why, but it doesn't.
as the only one still in retention of an opposable thumb, I'm going to attempt to wrench the whip out of her hands and tie her up with it.
Okay, so you take I'm going to say that in her current state, she cannot stop you, especially with your strength. There's just no way for her to stop you. So you take, as you're taking the whip, does anyone else want to say or do anything?
Squawk.
Ooh, I could be a nice little finger puzzle and grab both thumbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does anyone want to? One thing that you all, the animals, you all notice, you can understand each other. You can all understand when you say things. You can all understand each other's little clicks and squawks, and especially for animals, the nonverbal communication. That you don't know if that's the way it works with normal animals, but y'all can all understand each other.
Yeah, I do not think this is the Zoo woman.
Okay. And Osakai, as you take her whip from her, you see Morezi going, "Rah, rah, rah," and you take the whip from her, and you hear, "I do not think this is the Zuana woman," and you can understand her.
Wow.
Ah.
I give the whip back because I don't want to hear these people anymore. All right, well, I guess I'll tie her up with the whip. How long is the whip?
Okay.
Is it long enough to actually bind her body, or just enough for her arms?
It's enough to certainly tie up her upper torso. It's a normal size whip in that it is, fairly long. And there's like a, cutoff is the second you let go of the whip, they're talking to each other and you suddenly hear animal sounds again as soon as you let go of the whip.
Which would mean they can understand me still, though.
As far as you can tell. Yeah, you actually, the truth is, obviously they were all acting in a relatively intelligent manner during the battle. They weren't acting like animals.
Yeah.
But and of course you heard Morezi talk in a normal voice when you were holding the whip, but you don't know exactly how they were affected by this transformation.
Well, I guess if I ever want to hear them again, I guess I have to hold the whip, which is fine because it's on our prisoner.
Pinson, what would you like to do?
Well, while he's tying her up, I'm going to take a closer look at her and see if I can kind of glean whether, she's some sort of magical creature or whether there's something, just kind of magically kind of check her out and see if I can figure out what's going on here.
Okay, give me an Arcana roll.
I will do so. It's a modified 20.
A modified 20. So you see that she is dressed exactly as a wood elf would be, as Zuana would be, as a wood elf would be, but upon closer inspection, you do see that, especially towards her back, she has several small vials that are kind of in a special holster, for lack of a better term, in the small of her back, and one of them is currently empty.
It's a polyjuice potion.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Methinks.
All right, so I can make it transform, but why would it transform into something we know? Because unless it's somebody that knows us. All right, well, I guess we'll just have to kind of wait for it to wear off and find out what happens.
Very possibly. And Osukai, were you going to do something?
Yeah, so this is obviously not Zuana, since she's only in her wood elf disguise when she's wearing a hat of disguise, which I should have cottoned onto when she first arrived, but I guess...
Well, there was a lot. There was a giant purple worm.
There was a lot going on, yeah. So yeah, I will take out the letter and the little hat of disguise and show it to my animal companions while holding on to the handle of the whip to prove, that this is not Zuana. Which means divulging what Zuana is, but I think the situation at this point doesn't really matter, and I'm also pretty sure the party's not dumb and knows she's not actually a wood elf.
Sure?
It's one of those things where it's kind of been an open secret that a lot of the party know there's something going on with Zuana, but they've never really asked.
I'm like 70% sure I remember you saying something about her being a drow, but I don't actually remember if that's what was happening, because it's been like 2 years.
Exactly.
She is a drow.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, no.
Unless she is disguised in some other way, then, as you correctly deduce, this is not Zuana.
That's my proof.
Right. Plus, whoever it is using potions to probably change.
And there you go.
And thought they knew us.
Yeah.
Lots of things didn't add up because I didn't give Zuana a braid. I gave a braid to Jackson. So we should probably ask her about Jackson. Also, the container that she showed me was inside the chicken hut filled with purple blood.
That's true.
So
Also
where did
correct.
that come from?
I have approximate knowledge of many things.
Speaking of the chicken hut, what's happening?
The chicken hut...
Is a chicken?
If anyone would like to, you can make it. The chicken hut is no longer there. It is gone during the battle.
Aubrey
but
too.
If anyone
Aubrey
would like
3.
to make a perception roll for me, or just a roll versus with wisdom, to see what happened to it, because y'all were in the middle of battle when it happened.
Aubrey 3, no.
That is a 23 for Tix.
There you go.
23 for Tix. So Tix, with your really good vantage and able to see literally in more than one direction at once currently, during the battle, you saw the chicken hut transform into a wyvern.
Oh,
And
of course.
then the wyvern actually flew where all of your other animals had flown, which I believe, and I apologize if I got the direction wrong, to the north. But it flew in the direction of where the rainstorm came from and where Aphil and Aki and Chop have all run towards.
I
Well, I
believe
guess
it
we
was
know where we're going
west,
next.
But yeah.
West, yes, I believe
Yes,
it is
it was west.
Thank you.
My bitch.
You are correct, not north. It was west.
We need to find the staff, which is currently inside a wyvern.
Ooh.
That is true, that the staff of Seraphim, the rejoined staff of Seraphim, was inside the chicken hut, and it is also gone.
So now there's a
I'm going to
staff-powered wyvern
propose
flying around. Oof.
An important spell. It's called Wyvernius Pupius, and it will be very useful soon.
I can
I hope
only imagine.
everything comes out well.
But
That'll never fly.
I quit. You guys have this podcast to yourself. I'm done.
I don't like it.
Well, I guess we should probably question, since she's been listening to us the whole time. We should probably question this pseudo-wana.
Pseudo-wana, I love it.
It sounds like a drug or a Zelda boss.
Ooh, wait. I have a thought. It seems like she was trying to make us change and control us using the whip. Maybe we can do the reverse with it?
Being that I'm
I don't
not
know
exactly magical, it wouldn't work through me, and given that you're currently a bird, I mean, I'll hold out the handle of the whip so that the bird can land on it, being one of our only magical beings.
It's worth a shot.
It is worth a shot.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'll hop onto the handle and give it a squeeze and think about changing back to a pseudo-human.
Gotcha. So you concentrate really hard on changing back into your human form or spell scales form, and nothing happens.
So it must have been the rain.
How many vials were on her back?
I would say there's probably a nice even half dozen that are still, undrunk. There's one that is empty, and there's 6 more.
We should probably remove those from her now, given that her hands are bound.
I'm gonna take one and
Drink it.
yeah,
Yeah.
pour it on top of my shell.
This
Okay.
will end only well.
Let me roll a 1d6. Okay.
Aw.
You pour it onto your shell, and through the process of absorption, you absorb it in, and you feel a great burst of strength come over you.
No.
Someone
As
just got a crab with bull strength. Great!
Yes, you now have a bull strength spell infused upon you, and a bonus to all your strength rolls.
Okay. Of how much?
It is a +4 to strength bonuses. So you effectively have 4 more to your strength and a bonus of +4 to all strength checks. So you are now the world's strongest crab.
Cool.
You all see this like Dragon Ball Z moment of just these 2 big claws coming up and as strength infuses you.
Chunks of earth start floating up into the air.
Exactly.
Well, that didn't work. Try again.
I do a little
Oh,
dance
don't mix your potions. Please don't mix your potions.
and
Just
pass
make sure
them-
it's not an upper potion with a downer potion, and you'll be fine.
No, missability is a thing. Certain ingredients for different potions don't interact very well together. That's why you don't
Yes.
mix 2 different healing
Do they-
potions together.
they all
Worms
look
roots
the
don't
same?
stack.
interact.
They don't stack.
Yeah. Do all the potions look the same?
They all look different. Every single one looks different.
I wouldn't try it.
I'm not going to.
I'll try a potion.
Oh no. Maybe we should hold on to them and see if they're either worth something or worth some kind of use, and not just use them all up right now.
Fine.
It wouldn't carry them if they weren't useful.
We need to search the rest of her, and since I don't have hands, and
I guess I'll turn her out. Turn out her pockets. I should probably rephrase that. I guess I'll turn out Zuana's pockets.
Okay.
Pseudo Zuana.
Yes.
Pseudo Zuana, yes. Pseudo
Turn her down and shake her.
Yeah, I'll hold her by her ankles and upside down.
You give her a shake, and just
Shake,
what amounts
shake your
to
body.
10 gold comes out. There is also a wicked dagger that comes out. There is also Penson and Tix. You immediately recognize is the very bare bones of a potion making kit. Was in her. As y'all all know, that
alchemist.
yes, virtually every character in D&D who's an adventurer has a backpack of some kind. And this is certainly not the kind that you would, do to full potion making. But if you wanted to mix something together real quick and you had the right components, this is what you would use to do it. And by the way, when you literally shake, like several of the glass vials and stuff like shatter on the ground. But there's also like lots of components and stuff. By the way, a lot of them are now being ruined as the rain is pouring down upon them.
I mean, I don't know if any of our spellcasters actually have alchemy as their specific abilities, so It doesn't really matter. Components.
No,
aren't
I
worth much
just
anyway.
wanted to show you, just as you're shaking her violently, like this stuff is little beakers and twigs and eye of newt and stuff is just spilling out onto the ground.
Oh, we probably could have used some of that.
Could have sold it.
All right. This wicked-looking dagger.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like aside from wicked?
The hilt looks like a tail. It curves around in the shape of a tail of either perhaps a snake or a lizard, and the blade is serrated, and it looks, to your eye especially, Otsukai, it reminds you of a skinning knife.
That's
So
fun.
I take that back. Actually, it would be serrated on one side, and the other side is for boning.
It's doing that thing.
It appears to be some kind of skinning knife.
Okay.
I'm glad I didn't turn up as a crab cake.
Keep it up. It can still happen. It doesn't look. We spent a fair amount of time with a drow community, with the children way back when. It does not look drow craftsmanship, does it?
No, it does not look like anything you recognize as drow just off the top of your head. It absolutely does not look like something that you recognize. It is of make that you are not familiar with at all.
The drow do make some wicked-looking stuff, but it's always like a dark perversion of elven or sylvan stuff. So this does not strike me as drow. Further concreting my belief that this is not actually Zuana. Well, I guess we'll question her. We'll try
as we go west.
As we go west, yeah, we'll question her as we move. If she doesn't want to move, I'll drag her. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess we'll walk west as I question Pseudo-Wana.
Okay, and she does resist somewhat, but she realizes she really can't stop you, especially now that she's completely tied up, and so she moves, but very grudgingly. You kind of have to push her along a little bit. What would you like to ask her, or would anyone else like to ask her?
I'm going to scout ahead since I've got kind of the movement advantage.
Okay. You easily take to the sky and fly upwards and move forward. As you do, I will say that as you do, you feel something calling you, like something calling out to you, like, but it does not have power over you. But you wonder if it's like a proximity type thing, the closer you get. But you recognize the effect of something that should be either trying to or definitely having an effect on you, and you definitely think maybe this is what Afiel was hearing.
Right.
but it is not having. But the further away you get from the group, the stronger you feel that pull. And as you head, one thing that's limiting you is that it's raining really, really hard. But you do have the eyes of a crane, which are extremely sharp and very accurate. And what you can see out before you is you are at the Pinta Plains. And you actually crossed the Pinta Plains on your way to meet the Witch of the Lowlands several years ago when you first found the Staff of Seraphim.
Okay.
And you did not go like exactly where you are, because again, like I said, the Pinta Plains is probably the size of the entire Midwest of the United States. It's enormous. But one of the features that it is known for are these sudden, just ridiculously huge canyon drops. And what makes them so remarkable is they are not, we all are familiar with canyons that kind of have that slow stepping sort of motion as you go down. Like these look like just something incredibly heavy just pressed down and just whoom, dropped straight off. And you can see one of those just a few miles ahead.
Okay. I reckon that's probably where we're headed. So I'll kind of...
You think you can see things and objects, or possibly even living things moving beyond this drop-off, but it is too far away for you to tell.
Okay. Well, I'll keep it trucking, and if something obvious happens, I'll come back and tell the group, but for now, I'll just keep moving.
I guess we'll start with the battery of questions for Pseudo-Wana. Who they are, okay, where they come from, who sent them, etc., etc., etc.
Okay. I would like you to make an interrogation roll.
I will use Intimidate.
Certainly.
Best charisma skill. And I don't really have that much charisma, as you can tell. Ooh, that's a 19 on the die plus 8, so that's a 27.
Okay. Describe to me how you intimidate Pseudo-Wana.
Given that she wasn't expecting us to be able to resist her spell or whatever it is she's got going on with the whip, we're just gonna, Osakai is currently pushing from behind. He's just gonna sort of lean into her shoulder and just growl,
"Tell me what I want to know."
And she visibly shudders under that, and she tells you that, she says, "I know that you will not believe this, but I am not the one that you see."
No shit,
She's figured it out.
She's about 2 days behind us, but fair enough.
What you get from her as you walk towards this massive drop-off is you actually, she tells you that she had a limited telepathic ability that is innate to herself, and she was able to read your mind and appear in a form that you would want to see. And you might remember that right before she came out of the hole, you actually said you wondered if this wasn't something to do with Zuana.
Yes. And
then shortly afterwards, Zuana appeared.
Choose the form of your destructor.
Exactly. And so that's why
what did you do, Ray?
Marshmallow. I couldn't help it. And so that may also explain why she was randomly plucking out these other little memoroids from you, but they were not right, such as the braid that you gave to Jackson and the healing potion you got from the old woman, because she was sort of drawing at straws.
Yeah.
And
so what are those things, by the way? Are they just things she's crafted from her hammer space or whatever? Because obviously they can't exist because we gave one to Jackson and the thing is still inside the hut/wyvern. So
you don't actually see them anymore. So you think that they may have been entirely illusion.
Ah, that makes sense.
She pulled them out, and so it was just part of her illusion, of her telepathy or something like that. So they're not still there, either the pot or the braid.
Well, she doesn't seem very bright, given that we've tied her up and we're forcing her to walk, and she still thinks that we believe she's Zuana. Not very
Mhm.
smart. What did she do? Like, where did she come from? Who is she? Did anybody send her, and why?
Okay.
How do we
So
transform back?
a very
The
important
crab pokes at the
question.
bear, and is how do we transform back? How do we transform
Uh,
back?
and of course, she is currently wrapped up in the whip, and she does hear you when you say that, even though you poke him. So she turns towards you, and she says the only way to regain your true forms is you must in some way deactivate or destroy or reverse. The truth is, I do not know. I am too far down on the food chain. You're not sure if that's literal or not, by the way. There is a fetish, and you all, of course, know this is not the naughty meaning of that.
Yeah, it's a leather mask
Yes,
with a zipper.
there is a figurine of a dragon, she says, and that her people found it when a portal or a rift in an opening opened to another plane of existence. And they found this fetish inside. It is the figurine of a dragon. Combining it with a sorceress, they were able to cause it to generate the rain that transforms people into dumb animals. And they have been summoning all of the people and the animals for hundreds of miles around in order as part of a larger conquest of the surface world.
Great. Were they controlling the purple worm, or was the purple worm control transformation?
She says that the purple worm was actually a purple worm, that her people are a subterranean race, and that they were the various machinations they had been doing had angered the purple worm, and so it had brought it to the surface. And she was simply taking advantage of the fact that you were there. She knew that the rains were coming, and so she was trying to delay y'all and to, basically be there when you transformed so that she could just, herd you towards her people.
I don't like her.
Yeah, she kind of sucks.
Morezi, what do you think the world smells like to a dire boar?
It's a lot. Everything just like is grabbing at me all at once. It's not. It's
There's
not
an
that
overwhelming sense
everything
of truffles.
smells different. It's just that every smell is so much more present to my senses.
And I would like you to make a straight roll and add. Yes, you have a +8 to spot when it comes to smell.
18.
An 18. So you are just entranced by the smells that are coming at you from everywhere. The ground, you can smell truffles beneath the ground. You can hear like small creatures scurrying beneath the ground.
Oh, she can get a job.
That's right. She could be a truffle boar.
There you go.
Just like Chop turns out to have a talent for it. And that's when your nose catches the smell of rot, and something is coming out of the ground, but you have detected it before everyone else. What would you like to do?
I start indicating wildly to the position of which I believe is the rot man. I kind of gesture. I'm like, there's something coming!
All right, so you all would have been caught completely by surprise if she had not done so. I cannot tell you how good their rolls were. However, because she called to attention, where y'all are standing, suddenly 2 sets of hands burst forth from the muddy ground and begin to crawl upwards. Both of them are tightly wrapped in bandages.
There's a zombie on your
And
lawn.
2 mummies bring themselves out of the ground. Both of them are a kind of lizard folk. Their eyes glow a baleful gray. Not the blue that you had seen before. I know you thought I was going to say blue, but it's not. It's a baleful gray of necromancy, and they turn towards you and they open their mouths wide and they puff out their lower cheeks and hiss. And that's where we'll end Chafing Armor, episode 64. Very cool. None of this went the way I thought it was going to, so this is very interesting. Y'all all went in totally different directions, which I love as a dungeon master.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's good.
So this will be very, very interesting to see where y'all go from here. We will be back very shortly with more animal adventures.
First one to call me Old McDonald's is going to be made into Krabby Patties.
Mary had a little lamb, and the doctors were surprised. But when Old MacDonald had a farm, they couldn't believe their eyes.
Whoa.
That was amazing.
Mama had a chicken, Mama had a cow. Daddy's so proud he didn't care how.
Oh, man, we watched that show more than we should have. Okay, so enough of that. Thank you all for playing.
Thank you for not
Thanks
killing
for
us
doing
yet.
Yeah.
Not
Finally,
yet.
yeah.
Not yet. It turns
Not
out
yet.
crabs have quite the claws.
I'm just happy that the claw worked.
Yeah, it was far more. I thought that battle was going to go in a very different direction, and then whoop! That's how the roll the dice works. But we will be back soon with episode 65 with more animal adventures, and take care, everyone.
You too.
Probably
Thank you.
will. We'll see.
And we will roll with you soon.